Welcome to the Numerical Tarot. A new tarot paradigm. An alternative to tradition. An axial system of archetypal crystallography. A transculturally anthropomorphized, life-biased binary influence calculator. A wisdom system and archetype enhancer, with harmony of interpretation throughout. The content of all the videos in this series are excerpts, edits and brief summaries from the eBooks All Things Are Numbers and All Things Are Patterns, links below. For a more complete explanation of each idea, additional reading might be helpful. Hopefully the basic ideas come across enough to pique your interest in trying this alternative approach to tarot. A lot of effort has been put forth throughout this study to describe something that does not really exist. Being described as a theoretical model of existence, its purpose, throughout, has been to pour paint over an invisible man to see where he is. Throughout this study, we are discussing existence as invisible lines of force that have no physical form. This study gives those lines of force some form, so that we can see them, in order to discuss them. But forever and ever, they have no real form. Like sound waves moving through air, we can't know the fundamental structure of existence, except through our various forms of perception. The preferred method is to build an understanding of this essence in our mind, without any need for sight, sound, touch, smell or taste. But that's hard to do. Lots of spiritual philosophies attempt to point people to an understanding of this underlying structure using only words designed to suggestively hint to what they want us to know, without being too obvious about it. It is believed by many that the more obvious we are, the more we see the metaphorical paint we are pouring over our invisible man, and the less we see of the invisible lines of force. What we want is to see the unseeable, to visualize the invisible, without eyes of any kind, either physical or mental. We want to just know the theoretical parameters of existence without having to literally or even metaphorically see, hear, touch, smell or taste them. However, at the same time, as subtle as these lines of force are, they also become manifest in very straightforward ways through everything around us, which ultimately makes our tangible expressions just as helpful to our understanding as any knowing that might occur without such metaphorical paint being poured over our invisible man. The theoretical model of existence being presented everywhere in this study represents invisible lines of force, which we are drawing with visible lines, i.e., for circles and a point. Such a model of existence is so designed in order to be as unembellished as possible, so as to convey the very fundamental idea of waves of cosmic energy at varying levels of intensity, which are selectively sectioned off into four portions, with a center. Like a rainbow of visible light, which could also be partitioned into any number of defined colors, our theoretical model of existence chooses a select number of divisions to describe an infinitely divisible spectrum. But, while any number of divisions could be made from one end of a spectrum to another, natural divisions can also occur by way of naturally occurring events that create lines and patterns by themselves. A prime example of this type of phenomenon is wave interference, where propagating waves in a medium either collide or intermingle in rhythmic ways, such that combined or crossing pockets of energy produce amplified nodes and antinodes that stand out from the entire spectrum. The theory behind our theoretical model of existence is that it describes just such an event, pockets of energy that are the result of wave interference patterns. Inward-bound coagulating waves meet outward-bound radiating waves and create pockets of interference at the critical stages of development, which we then illustrate, or diagram, with four circles and a point. We then make quantum leaps from one critical stage of development to the other. The source of the interference that creates the pattern used by our theoretical model of existence is the inward versus outward path of energy taken by a universe that is converging upon a location of spacetime. As paradox yields to nothingness, and nothingness coagulates into somethingness, a point is created. From that point, somethingness radiates back out to the nothingness that surrounds it. In this way, we establish an inward and outward path of coagulation and emanation, or involution and evolution, or coagula, solve. As pockets of energy that are created or defined by the rhythmic variations of universal flux, our theoretical model of existence exists. We humans then go about the task of trying to experience these lines of force in ways that will allow us to discuss them with each other. To do this, we most often employ words and pictures. The theoretical model of existence being presented everywhere in this study starts with four circles and a point. The idea of segmenting our existence into sections that have individual identities that can be discussed between minds can be seen in the idea of chakras. Chakras are particular to a specific world culture, but are often utilized by others to describe how cosmic flux moves through a human body. In the world of chakras, there are usually 7. 7 is a popular number among those attempting to convey spiritually cosmic ideas, but it is not the only way. Some might disagree with that and claim that indeed it is the only way, but I would not agree. This study has given numerous reasons for segmenting cosmic flux into 4 circles and a point, in order to see the underlying lines of force that govern a manifest entity. With this in mind, I offer some visual embellishments that we can use to give form and character to the various stages of our segmented model of existence. In addition, I offer my own suggestions as to which aspects of a human form are influenced by each segment, for those wanting to use the theoretical model of existence being presented everywhere in this study as a tool for healing. Here is how the various segments of our theoretical model of existence might be influencing our human form, and which aspects of human anatomy and bodily function might be regulated by each segment. Off to the side there are accompanying icons which can be used to visualize each segment, for purposes of meditation. Each icon resembles a flower with petals. As numbers become attached to our segments, each icon has as many petals as are appropriate for its number. The shape of each petal is then configured to express the other number associated with each segment. Thus, the stage of existence that we refer to with the equidistant numbers of 1 and 9 has 9 one-sided circles. The segment we associate with the equidistant numbers of 2 and 8 has 8 two-sided mandorlas. The segment we associate with the equidistant numbers of 3 and 7 has 7 three-sided triangles. While the segment we refer to with the equidistant numbers 4 and 6 has 6 four-sided squares. Leaving the central point, which we refer to with the midpoint number of 5 to have 5 five-sided pentagons to its form. Here is another iteration of the wave node diagram showing how the segments of cosmic flux that are defined by inward and outward wave interference patterns can be used in meditation. In attempting to slow, calm and still the mind, each segment of our theoretical model of existence can be addressed in ways that are characteristic of the stage of existence they represent. The idea being that we don't want to just still the mind when meditating, we want to still or quiet every segment of our existence, as defined by these various stages of interference, each of which has its own character. So, we address each one in ways that correlate to their character. We tell the terminal 1-9 stage to rest and be still. We tell the inertia breaking 2-8 stage to relax and take a break from breaking inertia. We tell the expressive 3-7 stage to calm down and tap into the peaceful state it represents along the path of coagulation. We then tell the 4-6 gripping coagulating mass to let go. Finally, as the 5 represents the point at which inward changes into outward, we remind ourselves to breathe, here, now, in, and out. When people ask questions in a tarot reading, they usually focus on common areas of human experience. They want to know about their love life. They want to know about their financial future. They want to know about their health. They want to know about their self, they want to know their own mind. These questions are common because they are generated by the character of these theoretically fundamental segments of being. Being happy, healthy, wealthy and wise is fundamental. Being happy comes from the peaceful state of the 3-7 stage, illustrated in many tarot decks with the beautiful, kind, sympathetic and peaceful Empress, 3, and the cool calm aplomb of the Chariot, 7. Being healthy comes from the energetic state of the 2-8 stage, illustrated in many tarot decks with the inspirational La Papessa, or motivational High Priestess, or Shekinah, 2, and the virtue of strength, 8. The idea of wealth comes from the 4-6 stage of existence, illustrated in many tarot decks with the very wealthy Emperor, 4, and Lovers, 6. While the idea of mastering all of these comes from the central 5. Illustrated in many tarot decks with the law-giving, controlling Pope or Hierophant. In this diagram, segments of cosmic flux are being illustrated with straight lines inside circles. As with the flower icons of the previous diagram, these line segment icons combine the equidistant numbers associated with each stage of existence to create a representative pattern that we can utilize when meditating on each segment of manifestation. Thus, the stage of existence we associate with the equidistant numbers of 1 and 9 is divided into 9 segments with 1 line in each segment. While the stage of existence we associate with the equidistant numbers of 2 and 8 is divided into 8 segments with 2 lines in each segment. The stage of existence we associate with the equidistant numbers of 3 and 7 is then divided into 7 segments with 3 lines in each segment. While the stage of existence we associate with the equidistant numbers of 4 and 6 is divided into 6 segments with 4 lines in each segment. Leaving the central stage of existence that we associate with the number 5 to be divided into 5 segments with 5 lines in each segment. This sequence of patterns is particularly illustrative because of how busy or complex the icon for the 5 is, compared to the relative simplicity of the 1-9 icon. Along the way, the reduction of internal lines creates a kind of fading away of complexity, which, in the eyes of those who have studied the ideas being presented everywhere in this study, comes to represent the fading of diminishing returns that occurs as the intensity of coagulation dissolves back into the nothingness from which it came. This idea of fading intensity is not as apparent in the flower icons. At the center of both the flower icons and the line segment icons, we see symbols that come from yet another illustration of our theoretical model of existence, seen elsewhere in this study, the funnel, tunnel, and maze diagram, which is used in conjunction with the cosmic engine to describe the path of cosmic energy into and out of a manifest entity. Together, these three visual aids should give us plenty to use when contemplating and discussing these theoretical stages of existence that are otherwise invisible as lines of cosmic force. Here is a mandala to visualize how waves can move through a body and create things like chakras. In this schema, warm colors and cool colors both begin and end at magenta, as magenta is not part of the light wave spectrum, but only appears when the ends of the light wave spectrum overlap, making magenta like a clasp on a necklace of colors. In this mandala, small wavelengths are intense and powerful, perfect for describing the nature of our core of existence. Warm colors are also perfect for describing the heat of a warm body or core of a planet in space. But small wavelengths produce cool colors. That's ironic, making any association of color to our theoretical model of existence destined for contradiction. This mandala goes with the idea that warm colors belong at the warm core and cool colors belong at the fading periphery, as our theoretical model of existence tapers back into the cool empty space around it, while ironically, the warm colors center around a black, while the cool colors center around a white dot. This makes things reversible, hence the asking of what if 6 was 9? This mandala shows a meditating person spanning the two centers of existence. Two centers of existence? Yes, because of theories put forth all around this study of consciousness and the cosmos concerning the paradoxically binary nature of singularity, we see how these two centers are in fact portals to each other, as they are ultimately the same place. Beyond the infinitely large and beyond the infinitely small is a place of singularity. Because our manifest existence divides this place into two locations, beyond the infinitely large and the infinitely small, it is a singularity that is paradoxically binary or split in two. By defining this otherwise ineffable state with paradox, we locate a theoretical source for making our universe invertible. Elsewhere, we use the topographical paradox of a Mobius strip as a visual analogy for how paradox impossibly unites two into one, while at the same time being one that is made from two, just like the singularity that is split by our manifest universe. The winding path of the 6 is 9 mandala is not quite the same as a Mobius strip, but the way the two color schemes are both opposite and yet united as one is very similar. And just as untwisting the part of a Mobius that is twisted only causes the untwisted part to become twisted, reversing the order of either end of the rainbow path would only cause the other end to become its opposite. 6 would become 9. And our world would be upside down, but still the same, relative to either end. Given time, we would get used to a 9 that is now a 6 and things wouldn't be upside down at all, just ironically inverted. Until someone comes along and reverses things again. And while we are on the subject of vibrations and meditations, let's add this to the mix. Here is a mantra that could be repeated while meditating on the chakras and body parts in question. It borrows from the more famous mantra of Om and adds a different ending to it. If, by having watched all the videos previous to this one, you are familiar with the apart together model and the geometric progression, this procedure, and how and why it adds a different ending to the Om mantra, might make sense. Lips apart, lips together, lips apart, makes sense. Lips pinched to say, oh, mouth wide to say, makes sense. Try it out. That's all I have to say about chakras for now. It might be good to go back to the beginning of this series of videos, if you have opened this one out of sequence. But hopefully it either made sense or piqued your interest in looking further. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Links to eBooks, decks and merchandise below. And, if anyone is interested in drawing a deck based on this system of organization, don't hesitate to contact me for a collaboration.